What's going on, my fellow sport fans, and welcome to the episode of Sports Talk. Is your boy is back with another episode. And look at my beautiful silver snake shirt. If you know, you know. Is that a stain or is that hair? That's hair. But anyways, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of our Sports Talk video. Little, I don't want to call it a podcast, but video where we talk about sports, of my favorite sport teams, or anything that I feel like is important to have a conversation of going on around the sport world here on my sport YouTube channel. So today, yesterday actually, Vlatko resigned. Yeah, this video is being recorded on Thursday. Today's Thursday, right? And on Wednesday, Vlatko, it's been reported. It hasn't been confirmed by U.S. Soccer. It hasn't been confirmed by anybody at the time we've been making this video on the 17th. But it's being reported by multiple sources that he is planning to resign from the position of U.S. Soccer. I feel like this is actually the professional way that they go about it. This happens a lot in sports where instead of just being fired, people want to like be able to save face and be respectful and have someone go out on their own terms. So it's kind of like a forced resignation is what happens in sports. So a lot of times when you hear the words head coach or whoever resigns, it's usually a forced resignation where they had a conversation with people who were above them and they're like, hey, look, we can do this one of two ways. We can fire you and you have to deal with the public shame that comes with the word fired, or you can just resign, walk away, and that's just it. So usually coaches or ads, GMs, whoever will take the forced resignation because it allows them to walk out without looking embarrassed or looking like a failure, because being fired has that connotation of you failed. And for all intents and purposes, Vlatko did fail. The team is too talented to had lost the way that they lost. And people are like, it's not that they lost the way that they lost and they're too talented, it's that everyone caught up. I would honestly say not that many countries have caught up. If you think about it, if you look at the teams who made it farther than the USA, a lot of them don't have like a same like talent. Like there's some good players, but like usually it's like one or two people. Like you think about Spain has some solid players, but like the talent, like the real star talent, it's probably like two people. You got like Salma. It's her. I don't want to pronounce her last name because I actually like her. She plays for Barcelona. Does she? She plays for Barcelona. I think I remember her playing for Barcelona. I don't want to pronounce her last name because I love Barcelona, and she's really, really good. She's like their biggest star. There's also like Alexia with another last name like I'm having a hard time like pronouncing. I was just like my phone's over vibrating. Putelis. I want to say Putelis is Alexia's last name, but Alexia, she won Ballon d'Or. I think she also plays for Barcelona. From correctly, I do watch the Barcelona women's team, but I do have mental lapses when it comes to my brain remember names. But those two in particular, I think Selma's like 19 years old. She's an amazing uprising star for Spain, and Alexia, obviously former women's Ballon d'Or winner. Those are like the biggest stars for Spain. For England, you have what's her name? I forgot her name. Lauren James. I think it's Lauren James or Laura James. One of those. She's the one who stuck on Lozier and got suspended for two games. So like that's like the star of England essentially. But outside of that, like once you get past those names, it just drops off. And I'm not trying to like denounce those teams, but like they don't have the star power that USA has. When you come to like the USA starting 11, all 11 of them are the best in the world. Even when it comes to the bench players, those are also the best in the world. Like if you think about the backs, Crystal Dunn is the best right back, best left back in the game. Behind her, you also have another one of the best backs in the game, whether it be Emily Fox or Huerta. Because if you have on left or on the right, they're all really, really good. Alana Cook, the best center back. You go from there. Lindsay Horan over there midfield, Roosevelt midfield, Savannah DeMello midfield. It's like the U.S. You get reference, right? Even at the forwards, let's not even like consider just who got selected for the national team for World Cup. Let's just think about the forwards, just period, for the USA. Outside of Alex Morgan, outside of Lynn Williams, outside of Sophia Smith, who's there? Alyssa Thompson, who's there? Ashley Hatch. Like there's options here, and you can keep going. You can keep going. Y'all know if you watch NWSL, if you watch the previous games, who's going to be returning from injury, potentially next year. It's Christen Press. I don't know if Tobin Heath is going to be playing anytime soon. I don't know if she's like just done, but there's also Tobin Heath. There's also Jaden Shaw, who looks like she's probably going to be on the national team the next time there's some call-ups. Like there's some options out there. The U.S. is stacked. Like that's the general point. The U.S. is stacked with talent, from the starters to the bench to people who hasn't been called up yet. There's even when it comes to like there's I forgot her name. I'm sorry, there's no script for my sport videos, so I'm forgetting people's names. There's a 15-year-old who plays San Diego Wave. She'll probably end up being like called up to the national team within the next year or two. I'm calling it right now. Yeah, she's only 15, but the footwork and talent that she has shown, it's like, all right, she's out here, schooling some adults. She might start getting some looks for some friendlies. Like I could see that happening with her. But anyways, the point is the U.S. is talented. The U.S. the other countries aren't catching up to them so rapidly to where that's why the U.S. lost. The U.S. lost because of complacency. The U.S. lost because they kind of overlooked their opponents. The U.S. lost because the coach didn't have any tactics. Tobin, he's on her podcast, Christen Press. I have a link to her podcast in the description box below. It'll be the first link in the description box below. She was talking to, who was it? Fishlock. She was talking to Jess Fishlock from OL Reign, and they were like just having a conversation about the U.S. tactics, and Fishlock's just nailing it on like exactly what the issues were with Vlatko and why things were having a problem. So some yard work, may hear y'all working in the background, and so like they're like right there, like they gotta be like cutting my grass. It's like right there. Anyways, hopefully it's not too loud where you can't hear moi. So anyways, Jess was talking about, the tactics, and she was saying exactly what I've been telling people. It's like the U.S. national team has not changed any kind of like formations, haven't tried different like styles. It's just been the exact same team every single time. And this is why, if you pay attention, people have wanted Vlatko fired since he got hired. Because it's been obvious that he wasn't the right guy. Because the team would struggle or only win by one goal against people who they should be like, throttling. And they're not, because the tactics just aren't there, and the rotations isn't there. There's no good matches. It seems like when it came to selection, it was more about favoritism or giving someone a farewell when it comes to this is their last World Cup, so let's give them the last hurrah, or they're the veterans, so you got to give the veterans the shot because they have the experience. It's like sure in most situations, but a lot of times the younger players, they're hungry to prove themselves that they deserve something, so they might try harder to succeed, where the veterans are probably like, I'm already here, I'm going to do this. It was like Vlatko had a basic 4-3-3 formation. Like it was just the basics, and he would never change it. Like think about, and I feel like for him, he had like that, I don't call it the FIFA mindset, the video game FIFA, where it's like you just play one formation and that's it. That's just what you're doing. But you think about like the great managers right now, like the ones like Pep Guardiola. You think about the mastermind that is Xavi. Think about how they have their 4-3-3. Their 4-3-3 is like, there, but it's not their actual formation. Throughout a game, Man City might change their formation in the middle of the game, not even at halftime. Like, they might just shift things around on the pitch. Like you might start as a 4-3-3, but it might switch around a little bit. It might turn into a 4-5-2-1. It just might be what happens. It might have 5 freaking backs. That might just what happened. Like at halftime, if things aren't looking a certain way, they might shift the rotations again, the formation again. And then comes to Xavi. You wouldn't see that with Vlatko. You wouldn't see the formation of the U.S. change at all when things were going a certain way. Even when it comes to like substitutions, he would do one sub for an entire game, or he'll do 2 more subs in extra time, where it's like, all right, my dude, this game's already over. Like it's a minute left in the game, and you're putting out 2 people who would have been great 30 minutes ago. So that's kind of like why people have wanted Vlatko gone, and why this team failed. It was not because they don't have talent or because people are catching up. It's just literally the coach isn't making the best out of the talent that is there. At the same time, you got to have people take care of the talent, and he didn't. So shifting things over to baseball, I want to talk about the Detroit Tigers. We've talked about them in quite a bit. A lot of the videos on the channel has been U.S. women's national team. Sorry, not sorry. They've been a very easy conversation to have. My favorite sport is soccer. Favorite sport to watch is women's soccer. So I am going to like have way more women's soccer things to talk about than any other sport. Even though for the most part the NFL season hasn't started yet. Preseason started, but we're getting there. So I might have videos about when it comes to Packers and Broncos, one of my favorite teams in the NFL. Hockey season's around the corner, Red Wings. So yeah. Anyways, Tigers baseball is looking promising. Like we're still a struggling team, but we're starting to see the bats wake up, which is really, really good, but it's also whose bats waking up. Is Riley Green, you know, he's starting to actually hit home runs now. Like Riley Green has always been a good hitter. He has a really good smooth swing. And that's kind of his nickname now, is smooth swinging Riley Green. But he's never really been like a home run guy. Now Riley's starting to hit home runs. And it's like, okay, we're seeing some growth here. And then Torkelson is just turning into a straight up beast, which again, here's the thing about Torkelson. A lot of people in the guns to the Tigers fan base, they shit on Torkelson. They call him a bust. They say he needs to be sent down. It's like, you gotta remember that Torkelson is 23 years old. Do you know the average age of a minor league player? When it comes to AAA, the average minor league player age is 25, which means Torkelson's not even at the age and where he would initially get called up. If Torkelson was going through a normal growth process for baseball, he would be 25 years old and then getting called up for his first season in MLB in the show. He's 23. He got called up when he was 21. He is still growing and still learning the ropes, and we're seeing that. At the beginning of the year, he was doing some good hitting, but pitchers are like, the veterans are like, okay, let's just throw away from him instead of towards him now, and he couldn't handle that, so he started to slump. And he figured that out too, but in pitchers, they adjusted again, and he started to slump again, and then he adjusted. It's like we're seeing him adjust to the majors, and that's what you want to see from a young player. Torkelson is still a young player. He's not a bust. He's not someone who gets sent down. He's literally right now our hardest hitting player right now. Like, just period. Like, there's a statistic even a few months ago when he was slumping, like no one in baseball other than like Bo Bichette was hitting like more line drives, which basically just a statistic, analytic statistic of, you know, who's hitting the ball hard. If you get a line drive, it means you're making a lot of hard hits. And he was just getting a lot of balls in the air that was close to the freaking being a home run, but got to grab some balls that were definitely going to be a double or a single, but you know, it just went right into someone's glove. Things like that. And it's like, okay, clearly he can hit. It's just, you know, I don't want to say luck, but like it's just going right into some gloves. But now it's like he's just sending it over. He's just sending the ball to the moon. And it's like, okay, so Riley and Torkelson, who are pretty much the biggest hope when it comes to the Tigers, are legitimately showing why they're the biggest hope for the Tigers for the future. But it's not just them. You know, there's a person who was a 19th round pick who should not be where he is right now. Because think, it says before, someone asked, should he even be this good? And I was like, no. He's a 19th round pick. That's a career minor leaguer. Like, that's when you're 19th round pick in baseball, you are a career minor leaguer. Like, essentially, like there's always going to be like someone who busts out, but like generally, if you're that late in the draft, that's just someone who's going to be a career minor leaguer. This guy we're going to talk about, ever since he got called up, and he had a hot year last year, which is why he got called up, because like last year, out of nowhere, like last year for the Tigers, you had no idea who Kerry Carpenter was at all, and then like you just started hearing these rumbles in over there in the minors of this guy in AAA who's just hitting the ball hard and just destroying it in the minor leagues. And then he gets called up. You know, he doesn't do like insane last year, but it's like, okay, is he the real deal? This year comes around, Gary's getting in a little bit. He has some injury problems. Before he got hurt, he was doing pretty good. It's like, is he the real deal? He got hurt, so it was like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. And he came back, and it's like, and he started to do it again. It's like, okay, he's getting consistent here. Is he the real deal? And then lately, the last 11 games, he the real deal. Kerry Carpenter is insane. Like, this guy came out of nowhere. He's 25 years old, so again, he's at that age where this is the time where he will get called up from the minors to the majors to like see what he can do. Now, unless you are like a complete star, like out the gate, like you're 18 years old and people are like, yo, this guy is the next Bryce Harper, you won't really get to the majors until you're around 24, 25 years old, which is why you see like a lot of people who are the stars baseball now who are a little older than 25 because they were in the minors for a while. And again, you have some stars who, you know, they're 21 years old, 22 years old, but then their talent was so noticeable where it's like, yeah, they're just gonna go right to the moon. But anyways, Kerry Carpenter, he's just been hitting so well, and again, much like Torkelson, he's just rocketing the ball. Right now, time I'm recording this video, Carpenter's, I think it's like a 10 or 11 game streak of like getting an RBI or getting hits. Like, the guy is really good. The thing about Kerry Carpenter is he sees the ball very well. Whether it's a lefty or a righty, he sees the ball very, very well. He's also pretty disciplined, which has been an issue for some Tigers batters. They're not very disciplined. You see, like Javi Baez, for example. I'm a Javi Baez fan. I'm also a Javi Baez apologist. I'm going to admit that, but I'm also not biased. So when it comes to Javi Baez, he has a habit of just swinging at some of the dumbest pitches. You can be a pitch. You see you see, let's say this is the pitching box. From where this Red Wings mug is at, that has some coffee in it, to like, right here. Let's say that's the box. Anything inside here, you swing at. So let's say, has the cup handle. And that's kind of respectable. You can swing at that and it's not a big deal. Everybody has swinging at pitches that are damn near where the ball boy is sitting at. Like, that's how bad his plate discipline has been. I want to say his vision. His vision, it's not like a vision issue. It's just a discipline issue. He's swinging at things that he should be swinging at. Like, pitchers are intentionally throwing the ball into the dirt because they know he'll swing at it. It is insane. And it's like, this is one you're paying a lot of money. Like, people are praying he opts out. It's being speculated that he will opt out his contract. Man, could you believe we could have had Carlos Correa? Like, I feel like whatever it was that Carlos Correa wanted, they should have just freaking gave him it. Like, when you think about it, like, as much as I do like Javi Baez, when you look at how Carlos Correa has been for the Twins, it's like, maybe the Tigers should have paid extra for Carlos Correa, because Javi ain't it. Like, his defense is there, but like, batting. Anyways, back to Kerry Carpenter. He's doing great, but it's also not even Kerry who's just doing good. Akil Baddoo has had kind of like a resurgence this year. Like, people kind of have been sleeping on it because Torkelson's doing really good, Riley's doing really good, Kerry is pretty good right now. But Akil Baddoo has also been kind of like sneakily doing good as well. He's been getting some home runs. He's like, here's the thing about Akil Baddoo. He had a really good first year with Tigers, and then he slumped last year. And the reason why he slumped last year, and this is what Craig Monroe was saying, he was like, Akil was trying, because when it comes to baseball, you're going to try to like adjust your game to get more playing time. So Akil Baddoo in his first year, he did pretty good, but he was pretty bad at hitting against lefties. So last year he changed up his swing to try to be better at hitting against lefties, and then it funked up his entire game. So not only could he not hit against lefties, he couldn't hit against righties anymore either. So he's struggling against lefties and righties last year because he adjusted his swing. During the off season, for this season, he was working with Craig Monroe, who's a former Tigers player himself, works for commentary. So they're working together to get his swing back to where it needed to be. And now that he's adjusted his swing to being back to what it was, we're starting to see that year one Akil Baddoo again. It's like Akil's starting to get there. So generally, when it comes to Tigers right now, they're doing really good with their young players. Like, the veterans, not so much. But the young players are starting to like show they can hang, they can hit, and they're getting there. They're starting to get the majors. Because a lot of times when it comes to sports, it's all about you just getting used to the speed of the game. You always hear this, the speed of the game, speed of the game, speed of the game. If you're a college basketball player, the speed of the NBA is different. If you're a college football player, the NFL speed of the game is different. You always hear analysts, you always hear people on ESPN, Fox Sports mention that word, speed of the game. So even when it comes to baseball, the speed of the game, younger players got to get used to, how pitchers are throwing 100 miles per hour. They got freaking 6 different pitches they're going to throw at you. They know your weaknesses. They know where you're hot at. They know where you're weak at, and they're going to attack those points. So you're adjusting the entire time when you're a young player. Veterans, they know what they're dealing with. They know who they're going up against. So you're seeing these young players starting to get used to the majors. Miguel Cabrera's going to retire at the end of the year. Javi Baez is, like I said, discipline issues. Matt Vierling looks like he can be a guy, but he doesn't look like he can be an everyday guy. Then again, we don't really have a starting third baseman or starting second baseman. Next year we could be looking at Jace Jung getting that spot. One of the guys who we got, the kid Hoy Lee, who we got from the Phillies. Maybe he could be a guy. We don't know. They're both of them are very, very young and probably won't be in the majors next year. But Jace Jung likely will be like towards like this point of the season next year. You might start seeing Jace Jung. Third base, Cole Keith maybe next year. I think we should sign Matt Chapman. That would be what I would do if I was the Tigers, sign Matt Chapman to a contract so he could be third base next year. So, those are things that they can fix. The Tigers aren't a bad team when it comes to the talent. The team isn't lacking talent. Like, when it comes to their games recently, a lot of the recent games have been lost off just bad bullpen pitching, and it's kind of like even with that, that's not even a common thing for the team. Generally, for the last 3 years, this year, last year, before that, Tigers have had a pretty decent bullpen. So it's rare when they're the problem. Usually it's been we're not hitting well, but now we're hitting well, but the bullpen is like blowing games. And starting pitchers, our starting pitchers are all mostly hurt. Other than Erod, a lot of our starting pitchers are hurt. Tarek just got back. Casey's still hurt. So it's like, those are our top 3 guys. Erod, Casey, Tarek. Casey's not going to be playing until next year. Tarek just got back this year from injury. So it's like, all right, we're getting there. Reese Olsen looks like he could be a guy. He has like all the talent, all the stuff, but he has a habit of getting hit hard. He's young. He's going to grow and be better. Bo Bichette looks like he'd be a really good bullpen arm, so that might be a decision to have. Alex Faedo looks like he'd be a good 5th guy or good, rotating the 5th starter, or he could be another guy who you throw into the bullpen with Bo Bichette. That there's options there. Same thing comes to like Jason Foley, like he could be a good setup guy or a good closer. He had a rough game his last outing time this video against the Twins, but that was an anomaly in my opinion because he's been having really good outs every other game other than this one. I feel like Jose Cenero, this is his last year at Tigers. I feel like he's definitely done with Tigers this year. More so because of his age, but also he's getting hit really hard. And at that point, it's like, all right, got to move on at some point. So you're going to need to refill that bullpen, and it could just be Bo Bichette and Alex Faedo, and Will Vest. And there's other pitchers down in the minors who could start seeing next year, especially if we start having like injuries again. You could start seeing a lot of those guys like Wilmer Flores come up here and see what they got. Joey Wentz, he ain't got it, so he could be a bullpen arm or get sent down. I think we should see what he can do out of the bullpen, so because he might be a bullpen guy. That might be so. Sometimes you got to figure it out. Sometimes you got like a lot of pitchers, and it's not enough room for starters. Sometimes you got to see who is a bullpen guy, who's a closer, who is a starter. It doesn't look like Wentz is a starter. Move to the bullpen, see how he does when he only has to pitch 1 inning or 2 innings. Then it comes Bo Bichette. He looks pretty good doing that. But anyways, this is for the video. Thanks for watching. It's been a long video. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all stay safe, both mentally and physically. Hope you all feel good. I'm your boy Anubis. I'll catch you guys. Link can below is my Twitch stream, Tobin, Heath, and Christen Press's podcast, and my link tree to get you to my other YouTube channels and ways you can talk to me on social media and support. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all stay safe. I'm out of here.